Good afternoon. In today's video, we will talk about referencing and about oral presentation, how to get ready for oral presentation, and then we will talk about uh, key elements of case study. Yeah, so let me start with sharing my screen. So the learning outcome for this session is the learning outcome 4, applying principles of marketing to a real world case. So we will discuss about business plan mainly in relation to this learning outcome. So at the end of the session, at the end of the session, you will be able to apply your marketing knowledge on real life events and present a business or marketing plan. So these are the things that we will be discussing in this session. We will talk about referencing and oral presentation and key elements of business plan. So let me start with referencing. So first, before moving on to what is referencing, we need to understand why we need to do referencing. What is the importance of referencing? So referencing is important mainly to avoid plagiarism. What is plagiarism? Plagiarism means where you have breached, you have copied from original source, and when you have not provided the source, when you have not referenced for the original source, then it is referred to as plagiarism. So to avoid plagiarism, we need to provide references. So to acknowledge contribution of other writers and researchers in your work, you need to provide references. And with referencing, you will be able to give credit and respect to the original authors from whom you have got the ideas for your writing, and it will allow the reader to refer back to the original source of information that you have used. So it will add some credibility to your work, and you will have to add references in your marketing poster plan. Therefore, it is important that you are adding references for your marketing poster plan, not only in the marketing poster plan, for whatever the assignments. In whatever the assignments you do, you will have to add the references. So, when it comes to referencing, there are mainly two parts for referencing, in-text citation and the reference list. So in-text citation is, it happens within the text. So those are the short citations that you include within your writing. So usually in in-text citation, we include the surname and the year of publication. And if it is a direct quotation, you will have to include the page number as well. So that is about in-text citation. And for the reference list, you have to include the full details. So usually for your assignments, we will follow the APA referencing style. And in some universities, they follow the Harvard referencing. So depending on the referencing style that you're following, you will have to provide the full details of the reference source that you have referred to. So an example has been given here. So here the surname of the author, and then the initial, the publication year within brackets, and then the topic of the article. So this is an example of how you provide a reference in the reference list. So you can see that you have to provide full details of the source that is under the reference list. But in the in-text citation, you only provide the surname, the publication year, and the page number if it is a direct quote. And if it is not a direct quote, you can just provide the surname and the publication year. And so, as I have already explained, for in-text citation, this is how you do the in-text citation. You have to provide the author's name and the year of publication. So you can also include the page numbers if it is a direct quote. So I have already explained it. Yeah. Now we will move on to the next section, the presentation skills, because at the end of the semester, you have to present present your marketing plan. So what is oral presentation and why it is important? So oral presentation is all about where it is also referred to as public speaking. It is when you verbally explain about some kind of a topic in order to educate your audience or to inform or entertain your audience. That is an oral presentation. So let's discuss what are the good things, what are the examples of bad presentations and what are the examples of good presentation. So if it is a bad presentation, you will not carry a lot of items when you want to present, and if you're wearing informal clothes, then it is not very good. And if you're carrying lots of things for the presentation, like papers, books, phones to read with, then it is not a good presentation. And do not read from the screen. If you're reading from the screen, it is a bad presentation. And if you're standing with your back to the audience, then it is not a good presentation. And in your slides, do not include paragraphs, because it would be difficult for your audience to follow when you have included lots of words in the slides. If it is too text heavy, it will be very difficult for your audience to follow you. The best thing that you can do is you need to include all the facts in point form, very briefly. And examples of good presentation. So you need to dress formally, and you should be professional. You have to dress formally. And it's good if you can give some handouts so that audience can get some awareness before you start the presentation. And you need to use very clear text, right? Like I explained you can include everything very brief in point form without including very lengthy paragraphs. And also you can include diagrams so that audience can quickly get an understanding about your topics. And you have to use good body language. And you can use expressions with your face. So it would be interesting for the audience, and they will be able to easily understand what you're doing. And you can have good energy and smile to the audience. So these can be the examples of good presentation. So when you're doing presentation, we expect you to use good body language. Your face has to be with good expressions, and you have to be energetic in front of the audience. Otherwise, your audience will feel like it is boring. And it's good if you can give some handouts to your audience so they can get some kind of an understanding about the presentation, and address formally. So these can be the good things that we expect from presentation. Yeah. So in order to get ready for an oral presentation, so these are the steps you can follow. So in your marketing plan also, when you get ready for the marketing plan, you can follow these steps. So the first step is planning. Planning is important. So when planning for the presentation, first of all, you need to understand what you need to do. What are the things you need to cover? So you need to refer to your assignment brief, and then you need to understand what are the things you need to cover, what kind of sections, what are the subtopics, and then accordingly you can draft your presentation. After that, after drafting your presentation, you will be able to make your PowerPoint presentation, and maybe you can add pictures. So according to the theme, you can create that. So after that preparation, so to get ready for the presentation, it is very important that you're writing the script for the presentation. So starting from the beginning to the end, you can write everything that you're going to say in the presentation, but do not memorize it. Then you will practice it. So practice, practice, practice. It is the most important thing. It is the key for a successful presentation. So if you have practiced it at least for 5-6 times, then you will be able to do a successful presentation. So when practicing, you can first read your script for several times, and later on try to do it with your memory. And performance, then you will be doing your presentation, and finally answering the questions. So these will be the steps when you are doing an oral presentation. Yeah. So I hope that you have got a very good understanding about how to do a oral presentation and how to get ready for an oral presentation. Now, let's move on to case study, because you need to prepare a case study as well as one of your assignments. So key elements of the business plan. So in a business plan, solving a common problem, that is important. So the and user-friendly interface and seamless integration. So these are the key elements of this business plan. Um, so when preparing a business plan, it is important that we give a very brief understanding about our business to the audience, so that they will understand about what we are going to do. So it is important to include about the objectives of the business that we are going to start, and what kind of competition we have, the current market situation, the SWOT analysis, and also the market plan in terms of 4Ps. So it is important to include all these things in your business plan or marketing plan. So with this understanding, I hope that you will be able to do this case study. Thank you for listening to the video.